Welcome to the Awaken Sober Podcast. It's a podcast about life in recovery through Christ. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm so happy that you were able to be here.
Yeah, we're all happy.
Now, I wasn't talking about you guys. I'm talking about the people listening to this podcast out there, all of them.
I'm just saying we're all happy that they're here.
Yes. Oh, yeah, okay.
Derek speaks for all of us
Yeah.
I try.
in that regard.
How you guys doing this week, man?
Man, we're good. What do we got on tap for today?
Today, we're going to be talking about the 6 elements of recovery.
6 elements of recovery.
6 elements
Nice.
of recovery, yeah.
With an overarching of responsibility versus
Accountability. Yeah.
What do you mean by responsibility versus accountability?
So it's funny you asked that because I
glad-
have it right here.
Oh, what?
Responsibility versus accountability. So keeping oneself accountable and honest about their actions can also then prompt accountability and honesty from others around them. Responsibility is the act of keeping one's word and upholding one's own values.
Okay.
So accountability versus responsibility.
Yes.
So when I say that, what do you guys think?
What is my responsibility to do?
Yeah, and what am I being
responsible?
held accountable to do? Pretty much.
So I feel like accountability is an outward force on us, and then responsibility is our inward force out into the world.
Wow.
I like that. Way to go, Mikey. Give it to Mikey. He likes
Mike,
it.
I'll be here all week.
Give it to the young guy on the mic, right?
Man, look, Bonk came up with it.
Where'd you read that at?
I literally just came off the top of my head with that.
And he had a lot of head.
He does.
Bonk. Right here. Bonk.
He used that big melon for good.
It's about time.
There's little nuggets in there.
Yeah. Let me high five you. No fist bump.
Yeah, that really made a lot of sense.
You're going to have to put that on as a good quote, though. I mean, that is, yeah, the inward versus outward.
So you guys provide me with accountability. I provide you with accountability, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then,
That's debatable.
well, I try to,
Yeah.
but
Sorry.
Here we go.
oh God, I love you. So when it comes to accountability, it's like, okay, we need to be doing this, but the responsibility of doing what is told to me, that solely relies on me. It relies on that, which we're going to talk about when it comes to the 6 elements, is personal autonomy.
Well, that's a big word.
Yeah.
Do you still have that pulled up?
No.
Okay.
Why would he?
Maybe you should.
No, I wasn't ready for this yet, buddy.
Well, I'm sorry,
It's okay.
but we're going into it. So
He said, we're jumping straight into it. Forget how everybody's weeks are, which is okay. I mean, it's all right. Did everybody have a good week?
I did.
Yep.
Have a
Okay,
good
as long as you
great
had a good week, good. Autonomy now.
right to personal autonomy. It includes an individual's right to develop their personality, to express hopes and dreams, and make choices and not be unreasonably limited. It means choosing whether or not to act in a certain way or have certain experiences.
Where else do we hear that word autonomy, though? Do you guys ever hear it in your meetings?
I feel like I have.
I've heard it plenty, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard it plenty in different meetings, but looking up the definition definitely helps, but it didn't help me in that.
It didn't help me
It
either.
didn't help either. I thought it was going to.
No, it didn't really help.
So when I got into recovery,
Oh, wait. Hold on. I got another one.
you got another cool. Good.
Personal autonomy refers to a person's sense of self-determination, of being able to make choices regarding the direction of her or his own actions, including the freedom to pursue those choices.
That makes a lot more
That's
sense.
so much better.
Yeah, the other one was, I didn't
Yeah.
I didn't actually look at the source on that one, so that's just, we're just going to go ahead and ignore that one.
Dig it.
Can we cut that one out?
No, we're going to leave it there. It could help out somebody.
No, we
You never
could-
know.
Someone might understand that.
Yeah.
We're not
I'm an
we're not the
ordinary
smartest
guy.
people.
I am an ordinary guy.
Explain
Yeah.
as you would to a child.
Do you have autonomy for dummies? I'll take 2 of those.
I bet you they do.
Absolutely. So we get told to do these things. It's completely on us to do them.
Yes.
Right. We have that responsibility to ourselves, but I also have a responsibility to the people that I love and that are people that are holding me accountable, that I guess I don't want to let down, but most of all, I don't want to let myself down,
Right.
you know?
The other one was about to go people pleasing, I thought.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but yeah, I mean, that totally goes into it, that codependent side of everything.
Yeah, letting ourselves down is something that we're used to in our old life, but accountability versus responsibility, man, that's a tough one. Who are we accountable to, I guess, yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm accountable to you to call you when I get off work every day. And it's my responsibility to call you every day as I leave work. That's what I'm getting out of this whole accountability responsibility thing.
Yeah.
That works? Cool.
That works. It works perfect.
Well, I mean, in your faith, if we're talking about that, what are you accountable to? Who?
Everybody I come
Christ.
in contact with.
Christ.
Christ.
That, yeah.
I'm accountable to God, to Christ. I'm responsible here to do things that I've been called to do. But I'm accountable to one,
Right.
God.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I dig that.
That's an easy way to look at it. I mean, we're always accountable to God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he sees everything.
The one I'm going to be judged by.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's even all the work we do here. I'm still afraid of that. Walking up.
He's got to have pull out that filing cabinet.
Don't look at
I'm
me
not
like
worried
that.
I'm not worried about my past. I mean, that's been forgiven. Is what I'm worried about. Is him saying, "Hey, I entrusted this to you, and did I do what he wanted me to do?"
Right.
You know,
That's my fear. Did I love as Christ has called me to love? I mean, and that's we're to love people, right? And that's tough.
This is when I go back to Peter. Peter denied Christ 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And then he went and hid because he thought they were going to crucify him.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes and hides. Then Jesus resurrects 3 days later. And then within 5 days, a week of the resurrection, he got how many, like 5,000 followers of Christ, and then you got the Pharisee or the high priest and the Sadducees questioning him, like, whose authority are you doing this? It's only under Jesus. And it's like, how did that guy go from ordinary, not a rabbi, not anything, right? Just a fisherman, to denying Christ, not once, not twice, but 3 times, to not caring and saying, you know what, I'm doing this all for Jesus.
Because he knows what he's been called to do.
Right. Well, there's also the part in the book of John where Jesus took Peter off to the side to talk to him away from everybody else. We never actually hear what they spoke about, but I'm sure he had a few things to say to him to let him know what it is you're supposed to be doing here.
Yeah.
And most of us know
He was an ordinary guy.
Yes, he was, much like ourselves.
With an enormous responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Enormous responsibility. And he had accountability. My fears, have I done what Christ has called me to do? That's just my own internal battle.
No, I know.
That I get to struggle with.
You're not the only one, I'm quite sure.
Yeah.
We all want to hear that well done, good and faithful servant. And the question I don't know about you guys, but I know I myself question, am I going to hear that?
Yeah.
And I try, and I do what I think he wants me to do, but am I doing it the way he wants me to do it? Yeah,
my responsibility is to love people.
Right.
And man, I tell you what, I could be a jerk.
Oh.
And
I don't think so.
I think it was fun, like when Kobe showed up at church. I was like, I want to know how people treat him.
Yeah.
Because Kobe's different.
Mm-hmm.
But you better love. And people loved. So it was good to see. Everybody made him feel welcome. Everybody wanted him there. And I could tell you, hopefully he comes back again and hangs out with us.
He texted me. He really, really enjoyed it.
Did he?
Yeah.
Good.
Except it got him. He got him all in his feels and thinking. Now he's thinking, and now he's texting me and thinking. And I'm like, dude, you need to not think, because today I'm off work. Okay. So
But you got to remember, he got hit with a message today.
yeah, I know.
It was meant for him sitting in that chair.
Yeah.
And that's the way God works, man. When you finally go to church after so long and you sit down for that message, you're like, God, I just wanted to come and be. I didn't need to get wrecked today, but yep, here I am.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I was talking to somebody yesterday on the phone, and I'm trying to help her with work and whatnot. And she grew up just like me, Catholic church, and had a lot of stuff go on, just like I did, and fell away from it. And then she got into recovery, and she was sober for about a year, white knuckling it, not working a program or doing anything like that. And then she said that she went back to church, and her aunt was the one that brought her back. And when she got there, she said she had a profound experience, and she goes, "Why did you tell him I was going to be here today?" And she goes, what are you talking about? She's like, "Why did you tell God I was going to be here today?" Everything that was said pertained to me. And her aunt was like, "I didn't say anything. I asked you if you wanted to come. If you want to come next week, come back." And then she came back the next week, and the exact same thing happened. Goes, "Who are you talking to let them know that I'm going to be here today?" And when I went to church about a month ago, it was the exact same thing. It was, and I went with someone, and she goes, "I feel attacked." Not in like a bad way,
Right.
But what's going on here to make me feel like everything that was said was about me? I go, because you're where you need to be, and you needed to hear it.
Because you were listening.
You were listening. Exactly.
You were in a space to listen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Colby's only complaint was he stood too long.
Yeah.
And I'm like, then why'd you stand?
That's
Sit.
exactly
Yeah,
what he
just
said.
sit
There's
down.
a lot of standing.
Right.
Yeah, you sit your butt down. You don't have to stand. He goes, "Well, when I went to this church, they expected you to stand." I said, "You can lay down on the floor if you want."
Nobody
Jesus
at that,
don't care.
Yeah, no,
nobody at that
yeah.
church with a clicker.
Yeah, I mean,
He got it.
you could stand, you could kneel, you could sit, you could lay down, anything that you need to do, however you want to praise, because that's our time of praise. However you want to praise God, you praise God. Because there's times that I might have to sit down with my head in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
There's times that I may be on my knees because I just need to. And then maybe I'm standing with my arms in there. Who knows? Saying what size fish I caught. Or carrying the television.
No, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
The guy
It's
that
not,
lives
it's not
close to
how
us.
you do it. It's the
That
fact
you
that
do
you
it.
are doing it.
Yeah.
That you do it.
However, you need to praise God for what He's done for you.
You talked about a fear earlier. My fear is that that when I get there, did I do enough? Did I love enough?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a genuine fear of mine.
Well, that's what God's called you to do.
I mean, that's our mission is to love people.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the Holy Spirit's job to convict. It's our job to love.
That's what they
Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength.
Man,
Second is like this.
Love your neighbor
as yourself. That's it.
Yeah.
Love's the only commandment. Love.
You know, that's when we ask people, well, we're to go out and make disciples. Really, we're to love people. We're going to disciple them if we're loving them.
Yep.
Right? Because they're going to want what we have, and we're going to teach them how to do it. But have I done it well?
That's the
It-
question.
Man, that's a scary thought. Because I just think of what's broken churches up and broken them apart. Are we loving each community well? Or if they're different than us, are we not loving them well?
I think trying to obey all the rules is what messes people up.
It does, but it's not what's causing division in our churches at the moment.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's a part. The rules are what's dividing a lot of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going down a rabbit hole here.
Good. It's a good one.
That's what the podcast is about.
This is a Christ-centered program.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think the rules, I mean, as we know from a previous church, the rules are what's starting to divide. And kind of like, I'll use this example. Last night at the concert, they were talking about a global organization, which I think is great. It's obviously much needed, helps people in other countries. But I sit there and I listen to that. And I'm like, man, just walk outside and go freaking 2 miles that way. And there are people that are going through the exact same thing as they are in those other countries.
Living under a bridge.
Yes.
And most of them are veterans.
And it's like, dude, I understand why we're doing that, by all means, but it's like, man, just right there, you drive past that guy probably every day.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't think twice about that.
I already have a sermon written for it.
Good.
Do you really?
I mean, yeah.
Nice.
So I wrote it at Christmas because of all the money we raised for other countries, and something we're going to dive into here in just a minute. Substance use and mental health are so looked down upon still in our society. in church, we find scripture that says, you know, when I was sick, you know, you took care of me. When I was in jail, you came and visited me.
Right.
All these things. But for some reason, so our church does good with prisoners. Man, we take meetings into prisons and everything else, right? Our church does good with the elderly. Our church does good with the widows, the orphans. All these things the church does good at. Substance use and mental health is, hey, man, sit over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not those people. And that, man, it bit me in the soul, so I wrote a sermon.
Good.
That's awesome.
I'll probably preach it this year sometime.
It was kind of back to that when I work with the youth in the Celebrate Recovery program, and then I work with the youth at the church, and then I was told that I needed to be at a certain program because the CR kids were going to be there. And I'm like,
Yeah, those
Really?
kids cause trouble.
yeah, 'cause the CR kids are going to be there. A lot of kids from the CR, I'm going to need you to utilize your strength and take care of those.
Because I can't handle them.
Pretty much what was said, yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean,
But
that's what's dividing us, man. We want to separate all these different, man. Let's just love. That's it. Let's love.
Mhm.
it's one of the things I've been using at work is that, I have the same amount of love that I have for Kobe, who people would think the person in my position would look down upon, as I do this guy over here that's been drunk most of his life.
What are you talking? What are you
I'm just saying, you just happen to be
Is he
there.
wrong? He ain't wrong.
I got nothing but love for you, Perv.
So 6 elements of recovery, but this is more written towards mental health, correct?
From the perspective of the individual with mental illness,
Okay.
okay, which I think it's like 9 out of 10 people with substance abuse also suffer from a mental illness.
Say 10 out of 10.
That's pretty, hell, might as well be 10 out of 10.
It's 11 out of 10, but
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
keeping track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So recovery means gaining and retaining hope. That is, and I love that's the first thing it says, because that is what recovery, to me, that's the message of recovery, is hope.
Hope.
There is hope, There was hope for the people that came before me. There's hope for me, and there's hope for the people that are coming after me, So gaining and retaining hope by understanding of one's abilities and disabilities. Okay. Engagement in an active life, personal autonomy, which we already hit on, social identity, meaning and purpose in life, and a positive sense of self. So let's start out with understanding of one's abilities and disabilities.
I like that. Abilities and disabilities, because just because we have a disability don't mean that we don't have ability to do so. But we like to act like we can't do something because of that disability when it comes to our recovery. And I think that's a sellout, a cop-out.
Yeah.
So abilities versus disabilities, what do you think?
We'll touch back to it. I mean, you see somebody with a disability, and I don't, regardless of the spectrum of the disability, they're typically looked down on.
Yep.
Or it's like you can't do. When in reality, it's like I could probably do, I just can't do it like you do it.
And I could probably do it better.
There's a chance I'm probably going to do it better. So it comes back to addressing your abilities and your disabilities, but not judging your abilities and your disabilities.
Being honest about them?
Being 100% honest. Yeah,
We talked about that last week. Didn't
we did.
Yeah.
We did.
I mean,
Last
being
podcast.
honest about your abilities and your disabilities. I mean, let's not use a disability as an excuse. Let's just make sure that our ability is going to be correct.
Yeah.
What type of disabilities do you have?
Me?
Yeah.
Lots of them.
Really?
Yeah.
We're not going to share disabilities?
Yeah, we can.
We said we're going to be honest about them, right?
Yeah, we can be honest about them.
I didn't quite understand what disabilities I have. That's why I'm asking you guys, what do you see as disabilities? Help
Your mental
me.
health. I mean, that's
It is a disability.
It is,
So
it is.
bipolar.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Guilty.
Yeah.
anxious.
I'll take the
anxiety.
bipolar.
Yeah.
Depression.
Can we just
Times
have,
two.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Depression, my
Depression,
depression was a big
PTSD.
disability.
PTSD. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, all those are going to be considered disabilities.
Okay.
Check.
Thank
There
you.
are people out there that are on disability for
Mental health.
Mental
mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, But I think that's going back to the abilities versus disabilities. I get some people's depression is crippling. I see it.
Yeah. I also think that with anything, any disability, whatever it might be, mental health or physical, it can be used as a crutch.
Yes.
And don't get into the politics of it all, but people use it for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
So,
Well, people use it without trying to even remedy it.
it's like you have a victim mentality, and you don't want to get out of that victimized.
Ooh, I like it. No, keep going.
Yeah, no,
Don't stop now.
It's like, well, if I get out of this, I'm going to have to change my life, and I don't want to change my life because my life is okay, in my mind.
And so look. I don't have a PhD. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not. And I have diagnosed PTSD, and I was pretty high on that spectrum too. But there was a point where I was like, I can either live having this control my life, or I can turn it over to God and talk about it and work through it, because I don't want to feel this way anymore. And I could see it. People don't want to get out of that rut. They want a reason to keep doing what they're doing and justify their feelings. And it's like, look, you have the ability to help yourself. You do. I mean, if you're here, if you go to treatment, or if you walk into the rooms of AA or Celebrate Recovery or into a church, you have the ability to change. And you just don't want to. You want to keep playing that victim card, and that drives me nuts.
If you go into those things, you have a responsibility to yourself that you do need to change.
Just walk into Walmart sometime. Look at the majority of the greeters when you walk in.
Yeah.
Sitting in wheelchairs, sitting whatever it is. They have disabilities, but guess what they're doing? They're taking responsibility, and they know what they're able to do, and they're in there doing it. I mean, we walked out of a Walgreens, Christine and I did, and he was a really, really big guy, but he was sitting in a chair. And she goes, man, I love that. He's back there working instead of sitting at home, sitting on disability.
Yeah.
And that's the things that she notices whenever we go out. She tries to point that out. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. And I just think it's really cool that you can notice that. And it's fun to watch people take responsibility for their disability.
Yes. I like you brought up the Walmart person, because I think one of the nicest people I ever meet there is the greeters. Of course, that's why they're greeters.
Yeah.
But they usually, like you said, are in a wheelchair. I think the one down in my town has Down syndrome, and dude, this guy's awesome.
Yeah.
I love this guy. I hate Walmart. I mean, I've got the app that I don't have to go to Walmart, but I will go to Walmart if he's working, because he's just that nice of a guy. So yeah.
It's fun to see.
It is.
Not allowing your disabilities to dictate how you're going to live.
Or not using them to dictate how you live.
Or not.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like both sides of that.
Engagement in an active life. Engagement in an active life.
What's considered an active life?
That's a good question.
Not sitting at home.
Well, I get it, but can't you be active while you're at home? You know what? So we got a person who really has a problem with what we say social anxiety.
Yep.
He's dealing with that, but yet he does take time to strengthen himself by getting on his Xbox and playing with guys across the world and being able to speak with them. Does that count as active?
I would say so.
So I would say yes, because he's doing something. He's getting outside of himself.
Right. That's what I say. I don't. When we're sharing this podcast, I don't want people thinking active life. They got to be out of the house doing stuff.
No, but
there's other ways around it being active without having to get out. Really.
Yeah. So what are you doing? I mean.
Yeah.
Is that what you were going to say, Jay? What were you going to say?
Yeah, but to me, that example, I feel like they would still be isolating. Like if I did that, I'm still feeding into my. I'm not growing the way I should be growing. That's just how I feel.
Okay.
If it's like, if I want to be a good public speaker, what do I have to do? Speak. I have to get in front of people,
Right.
because I had social anxiety bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to learn because of in my previous job as a police officer going to court and testifying in front of a bunch of people. And so it's like, and that's not a comfortable situation to be in if you've never been in it, where you get put on the stand and you have to, and it's
I was on the other side. So.
I was going to say, I've been there before.
even though I have all my facts together, I would be nervous. I knew exactly what I was going to say. I knew what was almost going to be asked, and I would still get nervous. And now, and even in the treatment center, when I first started there, it was like I have to get over this fear of talking in front of people. And so how do I do it? I act like I've done it 1,000 times, even though my armpits are sweating, and yeah.
But you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So the person he's talking about is probably pretty young at the moment. And that person that will continue to grow as long as he's continued to be challenged.
Gotcha.
But there are people at home, social anxiety, or I think of somebody with autism. Going into a loud room and going into a room that's crowded full of people, they have to mask, right? They have to, and they call it masking. And so they're doing something that really puts them outside their comfort zone. And it wrecks them. Like it could put them in such a tailspin that they're out of control. And so we have to be careful, but as long as we're willing to challenge ourselves, that's an active lifestyle.
Yeah.
I was afraid to get up on stage and speak. I would get nauseous, sick, start sweating down my back, you name it, man. I'm like, this sucks. But I had to be willing to be uncomfortable in order to grow. But if I said that to the wrong person that has a disability, they would say, well, do you know what happens if you make me uncomfortable? Yeah, I do. But I didn't. That's how I learned about the autism and the spectrum and you name it. And the masking is just from that person. Because I said you got to be willing to be uncomfortable. So we don't want to put them, we got to make sure that we don't ask them to do way too much. But I think there's still a level of uncomfortability we have to have.
Yes.
Yeah, I was sorry. So we've been talking about disabilities and getting outside yourself. And, an individual that we know, I have seen at the gym in a chair. He's in a wheelchair, but he gets up and climbs up onto the treadmill and will walk the treadmill.
Look at that.
You know who I'm talking about. I can't think of his name right now, but yeah, it's him. And seeing him, he wheels himself in there and he gets up and he's working out at the gym. And not only that, it's a crowded gym. So to be, have that disability and be in a crowd of individuals exercising, that man's got heart, and I got a lot of love for him.
Active lifestyle.
Yes.
But active is going to look different for all of us.
Yeah.
It really is. But we have to be doing something to better ourselves. Because otherwise we're going to sit in a hole.
Yep.
And we're going to wish we were not breathing.
We're not growing, we're dying.
Yeah. Well, and when you're talking mental health, though, it's life or death.
Yeah.
100%.
Substance use, life or death. I mean, we're talking life or death. And if you allow that to consume you to where you're not getting outside, you're not getting the vitamin D, you're not getting any kind of exercise, there's a good chance that you will not be here long.
Mm-hmm.
The leading cause of suicide is depression.
Yep.
So,
What else we got?
Social identity.
ooh.
What about it?
Yeah, what about it?
Yeah, Mike. What about it? You wrote it.
You want me something off the top of my head again?
Yeah.
Please.
I've been killing it.
You've
lately.
been, yeah.
Spend your day, bro. I gave you that.
I would say social identity would probably come down to being comfortable in your own skin,
Okay.
knowing who you are as a person, and not. We talked about the being judged earlier, like fearful of, did I do enough? I think social identity is being comfortable in what you have done and what you plan to do, to where you don't have to please anybody else. You don't have to make anybody else happy. You need to make yourself happy.
Okay.
Social identity is a person's sense of who they are based on their group memberships.
Well, I'm surrounded by a pretty dang good group.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
There's that ego again.
So sports teams, religions, nationalities, occupations, sexual orientation, ethnic groups, genders.
Yeah, to me, and I agree with you, Mike. to me, it's like my moral being. That's like everything, like my belief system, who I surround myself with, the way I think, my opinions, like that are formed. Like that is my identity.
Yeah.
Like that's just who I am.
And you're comfortable with that.
Yeah.
No matter, you're comfortable with it, and you're also open to that being challenged.
And I'm open to change.
Exactly. So you're open to being challenged. You're open to change. You're open to strife, because, like we said, if there's no strife, there's no growth. So it's not like, oh, come and challenge me on every single little topic that I'm putting out there, because some things you're not going to change my mind. My opinions are my opinions, right? But I'm open-minded enough to be like, okay, I did not know that. So after knowing that, I can change my own opinion. I'm not going to go by your opinion. Give me facts, not feelings.
But you're open to it, though.
But I'm open to it.
Mm-hmm.
Facts, not feelings.
What were you gonna say, Derek?
I was just thinking, as we said, we're talking about being comforted, who we, the comfort of being who we are. Are we the same individual no matter where we're at?
Ooh, I love that. The masks.
Are you the same individual at work as you are at holding the door for somebody at Quick Trip or walking through Walmart?
Yes.
Congratulations. But to me,
I
that's
almost
what
said
I'm
yes
looking at.
until it came to Walmart.
Not so much at the Wally World. But I think that's something to strive for.
Yes.
Being the exact same person, because when I was, I'm a chameleon. Like I can change the way I am depending on what group I'm in, and that was me before recovery. After recovery, I've really tried to be like, this is who I am, and this is who I'm going to stay.
Right.
Now, do I fall victim to that same, old behavior sometimes? Of course, I'm human, right? But it's always understanding. I know who I am, and I know I know the person that I want to be.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And what I meant by that too, Derek, is good, bad, or indifferent. I am who I am. And now
It's Popeye. I
I
am
am what I am. He looks more like Brutus, but yeah.
This podcast is so beautiful. I love it.
Continue.
I'm done.
No, don't do
I
that.
don't even remember what I was going to say now.
Hang on, I got a
Sorry,
hey. There's a
man.
tissue for his issue right
Oh
there.
my gosh. No, but what you hear on this show is exactly how I am. And yeah.
Right.
I mean, I know that I wake up in the morning and I piss excellence.
I mean, a lot of
I get it,
But a lot of people deal with, like you said, that chameleon attitude.
Ego.
No, but the thing is it's so funny that you say this, because last night there was an incident when we were parking at the arena, and this guy came up and he said something to me, and I rolled up my window and I snapped, and my wife looked at me and she was not happy with the way I responded to that, and I just thought I was saying it under my breath, kind of like like.
She heard you loud and clear.
Oh yeah, well, I wasn't really saying it under my breath. Let's be honest. But
My excuse.
But, she's like, you need to change that behavior. And so there are things, like, I am who I am, but I am willing to change those things in my behavior that are not, I don't know, attractive, that aren't healthy all the time, But I am very convicted in my beliefs and, what right and wrong in my book.
Yeah, that was more of a shout out to that individual that acts a certain way on Sunday mornings, as opposed when they go to work on Monday, they're totally different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is what I'm looking at.
It's a shout out to them?
It's a shout at. I didn't say out. I said
okay.
at. A shout at that individual, so they can, It's hard sometimes. I mean, we feel a lot of times we're in the church, we got to be a certain way. We got to, stand up when they sing and all this kind of stuff. And then we get out, I think a lot of times people try to act a certain way in the building that it aggravates them enough that they're a totally different individual on the way out of the parking lot.
You ever met a Catholic?
How you doing, Mike?
I'm
Pleasure
good.
to meet you.
I met a lot of recovering Catholics.
Yeah.
Hi. It's one of those. It's like temperance in the church, but when you leave, all things are on the table. It's like there you are. You're just two different people. How can you do one thing in one place and do another thing in another place?
Right. I think that's got
Because
a
you're
lot to do
going
with
in to
social
check a
identity.
box.
Going in to check a box.
Check a box. Look at me. Look at me.
Yeah.
The outside looks good, but the inside's a mess.
Yep.
Rotting away.
Like Jeremy's car.
Like Jeremy's car. The outside always looked good going through the car wash.
Anymore.
Dude, I was there too. I was there, man. Yeah, everything seemed in order, but it was not.
It was organized chaos.
Yes.
Nice.
Next up, meaning and purpose in life.
And that's the one that
I just.
will keep us going forward.
What is your purpose, values? And
What is your sense of meaning, purpose, and values that help guide your attitude, thinking, and behavior?
Yes.
I know. Yes. Yes. We've touched on that
I'm pretty normal.
to exhaustion.
I'm kind of normal.
I don't know what my purpose is, man.
Yeah. Heard that a
That's
few
okay.
times.
I hate it when people try to give me an answer. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's to be a good father. It's to be. No, you don't know.
I got one of my best answers the other day talking with one of them. Is I really don't know how to answer that question.
That's a good answer.
That's a great answer.
That's what I thought. I was like, wow, all right.
Well, I always say, I would always preface it with like, okay, I read it and then I go, essentially, what is your moral code?
Right.
What is your
kind of morals
sense?
do
What
you
is
live
what is
by?
your sense of values that you live by?
That's what yeah.
I mean, it is basically asking, what is your purpose in life?
Yeah.
And it's like, if you think it was to be a good father and you have 3 kids and you're in treatment because you're an alcoholic and a drug addict.
Were you being a good father?
Yeah. So is that really your purpose in life? No, your purpose in life up until this point was to get high or get drunk.
Yeah.
I mean, that is your purpose.
Yeah.
This program.
So that's why I don't like that. Yeah, that's why I don't like that question. You know?
Right.
It's like, and I always say this. I didn't have an answer when I got asked that question. I said I have absolutely no idea, none.
I can't remember what I did. I don't think I did either. I'm here because I don't have a
Yeah,
purpose.
you need to tell me what my answer is.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I was lucky enough to find my purpose when I was actually in treatment.
Yeah.
That was never in a million years that I think I'd be doing what I'm doing now.
No, I know.
You know, but that's the beauty of getting just a little taste of recovery. See what it tastes like.
What did they taste like?
It tasted like freedom.
Oh, freedom,
It tasted like
America.
Unbridled power. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
He went there with it.
Yeah,
Bald
no,
eagle.
yeah,
On angel's wings.
on angel's wings, top of a mountain.
Sorry, Shane.
No, it felt like the biggest weight was off my shoulders because I didn't have to pretend on who I wanted to be anymore. I could finally be myself when I went into treatment. And I was searching for myself when I was in treatment.
But you didn't know who you were before treatment.
No, man.
And so, yeah, it's pretty nice. So let's go back to Romans, right? Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will.
Romans what?
Romans 12:2.
Thank you.
That's once we change the way we think, once we start changing our mind and we put Christ first, we will find our purpose. We will find what God's will is for our life. But we have to be willing to renew our mind.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get rid of the whatever we were just talking about. Let's bring it back simple. Follow Jesus and you will find your will. You will find your purpose in life. It may be working at a treatment center, but it may be working at Citibank and pouring into people there like Mims did for me. The guy that no matter what, he didn't waver from following Christ. Those are true warriors out there fighting the fight. Doing it inside the walls of a church is easy. They expect you to talk about Jesus. But when you're at a Citibank, you don't expect it. And then you have someone pouring into you. He had purpose. He knew what his purpose was. He knew what his calling was, but it was there. So once we start following Jesus, we'll find out what our purpose is and our call is. It's fun.
I didn't attribute it to that when I first started. I just thought I wanted to help people, you know?
Right.
But the more and more I help people, the more and more I was like, oh, I'm doing this for a greater cause.
But let's go back to your interview with us the first time.
Yeah.
You were more off the fence than on the fence, even.
Yeah, I was in the beginning of, refining my faith.
Yeah.
Attaching to Jesus Christ.
That
God.
was cool because you admitted it. We brought you on a show and we knew where you stood. And then it was not long later when we're doing an interview, I heard you say something. You joined the podcast for something. You had said something. And I'm like, oh, look where he's at now.
Yep.
Look at this. And nobody had to force anything. Nobody had to do anything. Just love. Love and accept people where they are. But it's when we start following Christ, we're going to find out what our purpose is.
Mm-hmm.
I think when we start following Christ, it's no longer when I make a decision. It's not. I'm not asking what I want to do, what society wants me to do. It's what does God want me to do.
Yeah.
And that comes. It's a progression. Like, I mean, even now, like I talked about last week, I'm going through this deep feeling in my body right now of like I want to run and quit doing what I'm doing and go do something what I think God is calling me to do. But it's like, well, I'll have to talk to you about that.
But right now, you are doing what God has called you to do.
Yes.
I mean, we talked about that when you first got out of treatment, because I even asked you, I said, do you want to be a cop? You remember? We're sitting in the auditorium that first day that I think it was the first day you came there, knowing that we had the snow day.
Yeah.
And I asked you, do you want to be a cop again? You said, I can. I said, you can. Do you want to be? And you said, no. This is where God wants me. Good. Then we'll follow that journey. You're where you need to be at this moment. But that don't mean that you're where you're going to be later. Yeah. There's things that we get to learn along that way that when I worked at Preferred that I learned before I went to go do full-time ministry, right? Then there was things that I learned in full-time ministry to be able to go to Reclaiming Hope and say, okay, this is the next level of that.
Right.
Where?
Reclaiming Hope. The conversation that we had, think about it. What's today's date?
The 15th?
Yeah.
So 3 days from now, it'll be 1 year since the ride home, and we had the conversation when you said, is Reclaiming Hope going to be a part of or separate from?
Oh, that's right.
And that's a fun conversation.
That is crazy.
1 year ago, we had that conversation. Is it going to be a part of where you are at, or is it going to be separate from? And I said, I think God's saying separate from, because we don't know the uncertainty at that place.
He answered that question pretty daggum quick, didn't he?
Real quick. And then I told you, Christina's going to be the last one I bring on because she needs to be my sugar mama.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
he answered that one real quick too.
That got answered, yeah. So the way I wanted it, no, but I mean, God said, look, you've been talking about reclaiming hope. It's time. I've given you the people and I've given you the knowledge, given you the wisdom. Go do it.
Yes.
And our hand got played. And so now we'll open the doors of Reclaiming Hope. Hopefully here in a couple of weeks, we'll have the schedule put out. You've seen the space.
Yes.
It's getting there. We got to build some walls. Air conditioning will be done shortly. Hopefully the heat as well, because we're coming up on that time now.
Yeah,
Forget air conditioning.
Yep.
But yeah, Reclaiming Hope to where we could help the entire family.
Where can they reach out to that?
They could hop online, reclaiminghope-mo.org. They could fill out a form, and we will reach back out to them and help them in any way possible. Set up counseling services, resumes, all that good stuff. Anything that they may need. So a shameless plug.
It's not just
That's not
we
a
don't.
shameless plug.
So at Reclaiming Hope, you're not just teaching sobriety; you're teaching full life change.
That's where it's at. Yeah.
Love it.
And for the entire family, because the family at home gets left behind. That's what aggravates me. Is like the husbands, the wives, the parents. They get pretty much put on the back burner.
The kids.
And the kids. We focus on all of it because it's a family disease. The family needs healing.
Yes.
So I'm excited. I'm excited because it's coming.
Yeah.
I'm excited too.
It's only been a year.
I'm excited too. Get to
Hey.
be a CPS.
But if it would have been my way, we would have had the wrong building.
Right.
Entered into a contract with the devil. and I don't mean to call them, but that's not what Reclaiming Hope is about.
Good.
Right.
So.
Anything else, Mike?
Last thing, a positive sense of self.
A couple weeks ago, was it when you were beating yourself up over a doctor's appointment?
Last Tuesday.
Yeah, it was this week.
No, it was the Tuesday before.
No, it was just.
Oh, yeah.
it
You're
was.
right. It was
Yep.
Tuesday before.
So you were beating yourself up and calling yourself names. You didn't have a very, and I even brought that up. Our self-affirmation was not going well.
There were none.
Yeah.
It was a negative self-affirmation for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, so there's a gratitude list. There's a self-affirmation that the guys get so sick of filling out every day. Do those things matter, how we view ourselves? I love it. I know guys hate it. I gotta fill out this form again.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
I did this yesterday. It's
Yeah. So how are you gonna view yourself today?
Yeah, exactly.
My wife still today, 9 years of sobriety, still fills out a self-affirmation every day. 9 years in, she can still do it. And you're going to whine because you've been doing it for 14 days, 26 days, 32 days.
Right.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Think highly of yourself.
Shut up.
Yeah.
If you don't believe it, if you can't speak it and believe it, then it's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
How do you view yourself nowadays, Derek?
Me?
Yeah, you. You're the only Derek here.
Oh. How do I view myself? To be completely honest right now, I am the happiest I've ever been with myself. It took me all these years to get to it, but I'm actually really happy with who I am. I get to do a job that I would never have thought in a million years I would ever be doing. And I find that as training for what God has planned for me more in the future. So I'm, taking in everything I can, utilizing everything I'm being taught so that I can use later on. I'm in better. I don't think I've been in this good of strength since I've been 21 when I just got out. And that was working out because, well, there was nothing.
Just got out of the Marines?
No, but no, I'm not.
Come on, Marine.
I am not. I am not in the military, even though I do support you guys out there 100%. No, but I'm really happy with where I'm at today.
Jeremy, how well do you think of yourself these days?
I'm getting better. Yeah.
What do you mean by that? Because I think it's good if people know getting better.
Oh, I mean, the mental health, part of it was I was struggling with that a few months ago. Just the mental, physical, emotional, arguing or not arguing, but kind of struggling with what am I doing, what God wants me to do, and then am I being the best father that I can be, the best husband I can be, the best employee that I can be, the best friend I can be. And so I was kind of going through this, but I will say, and I think I shared this with you recently too, is I've noticed a difference over the last month, the last 3 weeks, because I'm changing that attitude. I'm getting into the Word. I'm doing the things that I should be doing, that I've always should have been doing, but I was neglecting for whatever reason, excuses.
You were too busy.
It's too busy.
I was just too busy to.
Yeah.
It slipped my mind.
Yeah.
So, Michael.
Hi.
How do you view yourself?
Recently, less good than I have been in the past. I've been slipping, man. I've been falling. Not like I haven't been using, but the things that got me where I am, I have kind of been lackadaisical on. Whether it be reading with my therapist or, keeping my area clean or, just general overall health, but I'm in a much better place to come out of it than I was in the past. I can recognize it now. Like, okay, man, what's going on? Let's get back to basics. Let's do exactly what got us here. And
I
so
like to get back to basics.
Yeah, I mean, when everything's going haywire and it's just chaos, right? It's just absolute chaos. Get back to basics. Do what got you there, or you will be doing the things that
brought you here
in very, very short order. So, but I'm mindful of it. I used to put myself down for it, but now I'm like, okay, maybe it's just not the best. Not everybody's going to be their best on every single day, but I can do what I can.
No, because a hit and run is just as as important as a home run.
Yeah.
So, if you get back to the basics, it wins games.
Mm-hmm.
I like a little baseball.
Small
what can I
ball.
say? That's right.
Play a little small ball.
It wins more games than a home run does because those home run hitters strike out a lot more.
How about you, Shane? Yeah.
How am I? Now that I've been wrecked by God a few weeks ago or however long ago that was, I've been doing really well. But there was a time that I didn't really like me again.
Yeah.
I got to that point of I'd rather walk in the bathroom with the lights off and not have to look at my reflection. But ever since that moment, I've been viewing me as God sees me. And that's a lot better of a way to look at myself. I needed some positive affirmation. I needed to get back to the basics. I got away from journaling. I got away from all the things that I believed in because I believed I wasn't enough. Don't feel that anymore.
Good.
I say screw them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say that from the stage. I think I've said worse.
Oh yeah.
Have I not?
Oh no, you have. I mean, I think you've been told not to say that from the stage.
Yeah, I don't care.
I know.
I am who I am.
Yep.
There you go.
Give me some spinach. Well, no. Keep that spinach.
Yeah, but I am. That's all that I am.
But I mean, it's important. We have to view ourselves as God sees us. Even if we don't believe in ourselves, God believes in us. Otherwise, he would not have gifted us the way that he's gifted us. He would not have brought us through the stuff that he has brought us through. Trust me, he would have let suicide attempts happen. He didn't bring us this far to keep us only in this place, right?
Right.
This is not our end. This is just the beginning. God has called us to a much deeper purpose, a much deeper calling. So just got to be obedient.
I share a lot of times, man. There's part of me that wish I never went through the stuff that I went through growing up, but I am so happy that I did, because now I could do what I do today because of what I went through, and that God has strengthened me through that, brought me through that, and now I had nothing but testimony to share with others.
So before we close, any last comments there, Mike?
To sum it all up, I'm grateful for the life I have now and the life that I have lived so far. I'm grateful for the newfound hope that I do have on a daily basis.
Amen.
And I hope, you do the work, you'll find that too.
D.
Find Christ, find your purpose, man. That's all I got for today, this week.
I think that's enough. Jeremy, I don't know if he's there yet, but you got it?
I have one that I want to
Beautiful. That's all we need.
1 Peter 4:10. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms.
Amen.
Yeah.
On the head.
Faithful stewards of God's grace.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's... Hey, Mom, how you doing? It's good to have you.
That's the alarm.
Hey, look, Tactile Turn brought us this episode today. Thank you to those at Tactile Turn. If you've never checked them out, go to tactileturn.com, check them out. The greatest writing instrument ever.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And you need to journal, because I had to get back to the basics and I had to start grabbing out these pens again.
There you go.
So look, you guys have a great week. Thank you for joining us. We love you guys. God bless you, and we'll see you soon.
See you next week.
A blessing.